But if you have cubital tunnel syndrome and it's not caused by a bone spur or her smashing your elbow, you also have tight forearm muscles. So you want to work on those tight forearm muscles too, but I'll show you how to work on this little guy here along the side. So the idea here is to massage along the entire length of that muscle from where it attaches near the wrist, which is right in there. It's the furthest muscle on the forearm side towards the pinky, and you just can follow it along the bone there. Now if you don't want to use your thumbs, like I don't want to use my thumbs, you can use a padded towel and some balls. This is a tennis ball inside a sock. I have it inside the sock just so it doesn't fall all over the floor. I just keep track of it easier. You don't need the sock, but you can start either direction because you're kind of not gliding on it, you're just massaging back and forth. You can do a circular motion, which is kind of good actually, and go along the whole thing. Now if you find that the tennis ball is too big for getting in these smaller areas, especially towards the wrist or towards the elbow, you can use a smaller ball like a hard bounce ball. You can usually find them at dollar stores or department stores, or they're not very expensive. Just go along the whole thing. And for some reason, muscle imbalance is not taught in medical schools apparently, because a lot of doctors don't know about it. A lot of surgeons don't know about it. They spend a lot of time, taking cadavers apart and working on them and learning the structures, and but relaxing these muscles will go a long way. And as I said, you work on the forearm muscles too, like I showed you with the opposite elbow. The reason I'm not using my elbow here is because it's really too awkward. You can, it's really hard to get good leverage there, but you can do it. It's just whatever works for you. If the thumb works better for you, do that too. It's really good to get those loosened up. Now, if you're a guitar player and having to reach a lot, it's a good thing to do this once in a while to prevent yourself from having problems. And again, if you're a guitar player or other musical instrument, it's good to break up your sets with easier music along with the more difficult music, so you're giving this part of your muscle a little bit of rest, whatever. And in the stretching videos, you can use the same stretches that I showed you for the forearms, but you want to add a specific stretch for this one, or you could just do this specific stretch. Again, my choice is doing massage over stretches because you're getting at the spots more specifically, but this stretch is very good to use. So the idea, first of all, is because this muscle flexes your hand down and towards the pinky side, you want to stretch it back and away, stretching it more towards the thumb side. So you take your hand and push back so your palm is extended, and then twist up. You want to feel the stretch in here. You're not so much feeling the stretch anywhere else. So it's what you want to look for when you want to push your hand, so you're pushing your little finger down, in other words, or that little finger side down, so you feel the stretch all along here. and of course do your other stretches too, because with cubital tunnel, the muscle imbalance is this muscle is too tight and these muscles are too tight, and when they do the surgery they actually move the ulnar nerve. They take it and put it in a different pathway, whereas if you put the muscles back to where they're supposed to be, you can avoid the surgery. You may think surgery is a quick fix, but you take all the time of going to the doctor's office, getting examined, waiting around, going back for the appointment, going back for the surgery, then the recovery time for the surgery. The surgery itself doesn't take all that long, but that's time out of your day. And then there, you know, like I said, the recovery time when you could have avoided it in the first place. Oh, another thing that the ulnar nerve does is that there are these fingers in the hand that do this. Well, it also is involved in the motion now, the nerves that, you know, talk to the muscles to say do this, so your hand becomes weaker in that type of thing, and also weaker in the grip, because these two fingers, even though you don't think they are, they're very important in gripping, because we don't just have an opposable thumb, we also actually have an opposable pinky, and if you have injured your finger at all, your little finger, you go, wow, you know, you realize actually that was kind of an important little guy. One thing they suggest for people with cubital tunnel syndrome is when they're sleeping is to wear a sling or a splint, and it holds their arm at a 45-degree angle, because a lot of people do sleep with their elbows bent or like that, and that causes strain on this muscle on the side and the cubital tunnel. Well, a lot of people don't like sleeping in those things. I was watching one video on YouTube where a gal took a sock and cut the toe off and made sure that the sock wasn't you know, too tight, you know, loose and comfortable, and then put a smaller sock in the elbow, so that just a reminder not to go all the way. She couldn't quite, you know, do that with the sock in there. They suggest with some people, if they're banging their elbows on tables a lot, or just resting on that, is to wear elbow pads, which is kind of dorky, but it works. And also because it'll prevent you from doing that all the way. Or you could tie a bandana with a knot on the inside, so that it'll remind you not to bend your elbow all the way. These are kind of stopgap measures. But if you get to the habit by wearing an elbow pad, it'll kind of force your brain to remind yourself not to do that. But it's good to get in the mental habit of not bending your elbows all the way when you don't have to. But if you do have to, like if you're a model and you're doing makeup all the time on yourself, just work on those muscles, and it'll prevent you from ever having a problem. Or it'll reverse the problem if you do have it. Thank you.